Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Oh, who's this guy?
What's up?
This is my buddy Trev.
And I'm Matthew.
What's up, guys?
And we've got another shining surprise for you. I got a friend here sitting with me. And this is our second to last podcast as Matt is in Dubai. As you can see, he's got a sick new...
No, this is the finale, dude.
This is the finale?
Yeah, this is it, dude.
We can't milk you for one more.
So clearly we came super prepared.
You're
Matt, tell us a little
breaching
bit
the
about
contract, dude.
No, we talked with your agent. It's all good.
It's all good. Mike sent us a letter. It was written in Arabic, though. I didn't understand what it said, so I just signed it and sent it back to him. But tell us a little bit about what's going on behind you there, Matt.
So, in case you guys haven't noticed, the scenery is a little bit different for this last episode. I actually moved. So, I am still in Silicon Oasis, which is a suburb of Dubai. But I am no longer in City Tower Building, apartment 302. I am now in Palace Tower, apartment 816. And one of my classmates graciously offered to let me crash on his couch. So I'm here until I leave, which I leave right in like 2 weeks. Probably by the time this video is posted, it'll be like 1 week. And that's why this is the finale, because this trip, my adventure, is quickly coming to a close.
It's bittersweet, Matt. It's bittersweet. Can't wait to have you back in the States, but I like having a guy in Dubai. You know, I like having somebody on the ground to be able to keep me up to date.
Tell us a little bit about the place you're living now. You were telling us a funny story before the podcast kicked off.
Yeah, so the place that I'm living right now, it's a studio apartment. It's probably like 50 square feet at the very most. It's probably, Taylor, like half the size of your living room. So it's very small, condensed area. I have 3 other roommates. They're all Nigerians. So it makes for a very interesting cultural experience. They usually like to stay up all night playing FIFA, so sleep often evades me, but it's not the end of the world. We're just young, wild, and free, living the dream, so it's not too much of a big deal. The one caveat to the whole living situation is the apartment is infested with cockroaches. There are cockroaches all over the place. Stovetop, floor, bed at night, they're crawling all over me. It's a mess. But like I said, I'm only living in this spot for 3 weeks, and rent is free, so beggars can't be choosers. And honestly, the cockroaches, they make nice little companions. Whenever I get kind of lonely, I can sing them a song or read them a bedtime story. Sometimes they read me a bedtime story. And it's perfect for really getting along.
For sure. And if you ever need some extra protein, you know, you just throw a few of those bad boys in whatever you're eating.
Yeah.
A little crunch to it.
It kind of reminds me of the movie WALL-E, where the robot's friend towards the beginning of the movie is a cockroach.
Yeah.
It's just related to this.
It's a good connection.
No, I'm serious though. I think cockroaches get like this really bad rap as them being like, you know, the devil's like little insect. But in all reality, I mean, they're not like wasps. Like wasps can cause you legitimate pain because they inject poison into you that stings. I mean, cockroaches, they're not biting you like ants. They're not stinging you like hornets. So I'm honestly really learning to appreciate these little guys.
Yeah.
Let's go deeper.
That's another thing. Wasps. Why are wasps around? Like really? Yeah. Like they don't like transfer pollen from one flower to another or anything like that. They just sting shit.
Are they decomposers? Do they?
I don't know.
Let's look this up. Let's take a good
wasps.
5 minutes to
Aren't they somewhere like in the insect food chain where like they eat smaller insects, and if they didn't eat the insects, then the insects would overpopulate and the whole ecosystem would go down the toilet? I think like that's their functional role.
Yeah.
They have to be necessary, or they wouldn't exist. But I just don't remember what they do.
Yeah.
If any listeners know why wasps exist,
or if you just really like wasps,
just say in the comments or shoot us a tweet, and we'll get back to you in a gracious and thankful way.
There's these crazy videos of this like dude in like India or something like that, some Asian country, and goes out into the middle of the woods, and there's this massive, I think it's either hornet or bees or something like that, and it's like, I'm not joking, like it's the size of like a normal sized door, just thick, just filled with these fucking freaking hornets. Sorry. And it's crazy, dude. You gotta look it up. Dude's wild.
Yeah, and
I gotta limit my I gotta limit my verbiage. Okay, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the hair situation, Matt.
The hair situation?
I'm thinking, is this like a Dubai fashion statement? Like, are you trying to tell Dubai something, or are you trying to show something to yourself, or are you just being just wild and free, Snoop Dogg style?
Honestly, I think it's a combination of the three. My older brother, Dan Farina, who you guys know very well, and that we have to give a huge shout out to on this finale.
Dirty Dan.
Yes, Dirty
Slim
Dan.
Reef.
Dan the man.
Bill Bodak.
Lieutenant Dan. Danny boy.
Chief of the Reef.
6'9".
Reef Chief.
He's a living legend. He actually started the trend back in the fall. Or actually last summer. So this is almost a year now where he decided he was not going to cut his hair, and at first I thought it was a bold move. I wasn't really on board with the whole thing, but his persistence and dedication has certainly inspired me and has inspired Trev as well. Trev has some luscious locks of love that he really maintains actually beautifully. You got a great head of hair, dude. You've got a very strong flow game. And
so does Trev.
No, that's what I was just saying, dude. I was just saying that.
Yeah, man. Dan's actually the one that got me to start it with. He's like, you got to do the no cut with me. I was like, all right, man, we're doing this together.
Dan looks good. Hopefully we can get a picture of him here at this point. Just cheesing.
We need the fro. If we can get a picture with him with the fro, I don't know if that probably exists on Instagram. We'll find it.
I'm sure.
There's a picture on Instagram where it's like he has like the huge froed out. He's got like this like button-up shirt on with a couple buttons undone, like a little chest action, gold chain, like the Italian mob vibe, and he's got like six chicks around him, dude. That's the picture that we're gonna put up, dude, because
that's Dan.
That's Dan in a nutshell right there.
So at the very first episode, we talked about three goals that you have for living in Dubai. Why don't you go through each of those, and we can kind of dive into some conversation from there.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. So the first goal was to thrive socially, and thriving socially comes naturally to me, seeing as I'm a flaming extrovert. But to be honest, I was a little nervous just because of the cultural differences between the West and the East, and so I wasn't sure what to expect. But after being here now for 4.5 months or 4 months, I can safely say that I have thrived socially. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I feel like the big man on campus when I'm at the University of Dubai. And literally, I was there the other day, and whenever I walk somewhere, I have to stop and talk to and say hello to at least 5 or 6 people. I feel like I just kind of know everybody. And I'm not saying this to be like this pretentious asshole. It's just kind of like the reality situation. Like, I've gotten to meet a lot of people, and it's really benefited me in a lot of ways because so many of the friendships I've developed have led to a lot of unforgettable adventures. Because a lot of my Arab friends, they'll want to take me out to do stuff, which has been totally awesome and has really, I think, provided that cultural immersion. So I can definitely check the box on that one. I have thrived socially, and that has benefited me in a lot of unexpected ways.
That's awesome.
Nice. So do you make a point of going out and like meeting new people? Or is it more just like naturally happen with like the circle that you're in? You kind of meet a lot of people, or like do you have like an actual motivation? Like, okay, I want to meet like, you know, this person, or I see this girl or this guy looks cool. Like, what's your thing?
So as I said before, I'm a flaming extrovert, so I'm just naturally outgoing. And then on the flip side of things, seeing as I'm the only American at the University of Dubai, I kind of have this natural appeal. So a lot of people have just come up to me and initiated things, which has made my life a million times easier because they're doing, you know, 100% of the work. So I think it'd be a combination of both my willingness to kind of step out of my comfort zone, put myself out there, get to know people, and then also too their ability to take an interest in me and come up and say, hey, what's America like?
Cool. Yeah, you're the unofficial social ambassador to Dubai.
That's right. That's right.
Just your face.
That would be interesting, Matt, to go see the actual U.S. ambassador. I bet it wouldn't be too tough to get a meeting with him. I don't know.
You're the only American there. Who else is he going to talk to about beer and sports?
Freedom.
Freedom. He's got a bald eagle in his office.
Hold on, really quick. This will be kind of tangential, but do you know what are you doing? Do you know anybody who does falconry in Dubai?
I was actually on this desert safari last week, and there was a dude out there doing falconry, dude. And you had to pay to like do the little thing with them. And I was feeling very cheap at the moment, and so I didn't pay to do it. But one of the girls that I was with did it, and they had an absolute blast. They wouldn't stop talking about it. That was like the hot topic for the rest of the evening. So falconry is definitely a big thing, especially just as a tourist attraction. It looks cool. It is cool, and so it's a very easy way to make some money.
Yeah, I know that my mom's a science teacher, and she had a dude come in with a falcon, and the dude was teaching her kids about falconry and everything, so that was kind of cool. It made me think about this guy who followed me on Instagram a long time ago. He's like a lawyer in Saudi Arabia, and he had no business following me. I think it might have been an accident, but like I went on and I messaged him. I was like, hey, what's up? And okay, this is too tangential, but basically he did a lot of like falconry, and so it's pretty popular even amongst the social elite, like lawyers and stuff in the Middle East.
I always picture like a certain type of guy that does falconry. You know, he's got like flame tattoos down his forearms.
Right.
He wears Oakleys and a backwards hat. He's like, this is this is Onyx, my newest falcon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you might have a flawed impression of
That's just
falconry.
in my head. Maybe it's like super rich people, and I don't know anyone who actually does it. That's probably it.
I don't think any of us know, but
No.
except my mom apparently.
Yeah, but that's been a big thing in the Middle East for a while. I think like falconry has been associated with royalty. I remember reading this book a while back called My Side of the Mountain, where it's like this kid goes out and he like lives on the land, gets a falcon, and then in the sequel, which I only read like the first half of it, like the whole book is about his falcon getting stolen by like all these like Middle Eastern dudes that come to New York, and he's like freaking out trying to find his falcon. Yeah, big falcon power moves. That's what it's all about.
And then before that, the only falconry I knew of was the Atlanta Falcons. Big shout out. All right. So what was the second goal? The second goal that you were going to be
Dogfighting.
working on there.
So the second goal was to really excel academically, and that has been a very interesting process as well, simply because the education system at the University of Dubai is slightly different than the education system at UNF. One of the things that's most notable is that the tests and the quizzes aren't multiple choice. They're all free response. And that can be difficult in a lot of ways, because when it comes to taking a multiple choice test, the correct answer is right in front of you. You just have to identify it. But when you are taking a free response test, you have to recall all of this information and just kind of flow off the dome. And so that has really challenged me in some new ways, and has also forced me to develop some new study habits, because there's a lot more memorization that's required. And actually, this is final exam week, so I have my first final exam tomorrow, and then it extends for like the next 8 days. And I'm not too worried about it. I have definitely worked hard this year. I think I've really set myself up for success, which is always important, because the worst feeling in the world is when you're coming into a final exam and you have all this pressure to do really well just so you can pass the class. I know that I'm going to pass all my classes, that's guaranteed. Now I'm just kind of shooting for that high GPA. And beyond just numbers and figures and facts, I really see it as an opportunity for me to showcase everything that I've learned throughout the course of the semester. And a lot of students that I'm around don't have that attitude. They just kind of bemoan the fact that they have to take one more test, and I can see why. Test taking isn't necessarily super enjoyable, but at the same time, I do see it as a really unique opportunity for me to show the professor and for me to show myself what it is I've really learned during the lectures and homework assignments and research papers and stuff. So I am definitely eager to get these exams out of the way. It'll be a huge burden off my shoulders. As far as checking the box with regards to excelling academically, I think that has still to be determined. I feel really good about things up until this point, but I have these final exams, and then we'll kind of see what happens.
All right. Yeah, man. I'm fully confident in your ability. One thing I would ask is, like, do you like the free response questions better than the multiple? Like, obviously, I don't think you would like it better, but do you feel like it's more effective in communicating the curriculum and having it seep into your long-term memory so it's, like, useful?
Yes and no. The reason why I say no is because when you're taking a multiple choice test, for each question, there's clearly a right answer. Yes, there's always anomalies, and teachers and students will debate on whether or not it could have been A and B, but for most of the time, there's like a clear-cut answer. When it comes to free response, sometimes you can just kind of beat around the bush and kind of BS your way into getting a couple of points, when in actuality, you didn't really address the topic on hand. So in that sense, sometimes it can be more beneficial for students to take a free response test, simply because it provides a little more room or a little more wiggle room. But at the same time, like we were saying before, when it comes to multiple choice tests, they're really easy in the sense that you just have to identify the right answer. The right answer is always already there. You just have to be able to find it, and you can even guess. Say you have no clue what the answer is. Just by sheer luck of the draw, you could pick A, and the answer could be A. And you don't necessarily have that luxury when it comes to free response questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unless you cheat.
How hard is it? What is the status?
Matt doesn't like cheating.
What is the status of, like, cheating in Dubai? And does anybody take, like, Adderall and Vyvanse? Not illegally, but just, like, is that a thing? Like, what?
No, but that's a really interesting question, because we've seen so much in our university settings how Vyvanse and Adderall is such a big part of student culture, whether it's legal consumption with a prescription or illegal consumption. And now that you bring that up, I really haven't noticed students using Vyvanse or Adderall. And I think that's partly because there's such a casual attitude towards education, at least at the university that I'm at, which is so contradictory to what we're used to back in the US. And part of that is a cultural thing with the whole kind of capitalistic system in the West. It's very much performance driven. And I don't think there's as much of that here at the university that I've been studying at. And so because of that, students don't feel the need to consume these substances that may enhance their intellectual abilities, at least for short periods of time. But one thing that I will say is that cheating is pretty relevant, at the uni. And maybe I will get in trouble for saying this. But I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm leaving in 2 weeks anyway. And this isn't a knock on the university by any matter of means, because you can try to enforce a lot of rules and regulations that really promote academic integrity. But students always seem to find a way around it, which is a shame, but it's just kind of the world that we live in. And I have noticed that a lot of students cheat, whether it's on tests or homework assignments and stuff. And sometimes that can be a little frustrating because I feel like I'm really putting forth 110%, and I always don't get the best grades simply because other people are scrolling through their phones very discreetly in the exams, and they can pinpoint the right answer when I can't always recall it as quickly. So that's something I've kind of noticed. It really hasn't been that big of a deal. At the end of the day, I feel like each person's academic behavior is their own business. So I'm not gonna be like, the grammar police running around telling on people. I think that would be a very inappropriate thing for me to do. But it is something I've noticed, and I think it's true for a lot of academic settings, not just here in Dubai.
Yeah. Well, and you do so much running anyway. You're a very athletic guy. You don't need to be doing any more running. So running around, grammar police. Cool. So Matt, I'm excited. I think you're gonna get all A's and B's or plus marks or whatever they're doing there. I got all A's and B's, so I'm super excited about that this semester. Woot woot. I think that this is only the second time in college that I've done that, but the third goal you had for yourself, I'm a little less confident that you'll be able to make.
Grow a manly beard? Check that box.
Yeah. No, I think there was a lot of unspoken goals that you made happen, and that's just as important. But Matt, why don't you come clean? Tell us a little bit about goal number 3 and what happened with that.
So goal number 3 kind of started off as this running joke because in my mind I kind of had this dream of what's the term? I guess it would be like a sugar mama, finding a sugar mama.
Yeah, it was marrying a Persian princess.
Yeah, marrying a Persian princess. And as everyone knows, Persian princesses are extremely beautiful and also extremely wealthy. So it sounded like the perfect match for your boy. Because I could just sit at home and make podcasts with you guys
stay-at-home dad.
Never have to work another day in my life.
Honey.
Yeah, exactly.
I made lasagna. Perfect.
So that was kind of the whole joke behind that. But Taylor and I felt the need to include that in this podcast because we thought it would make for some interesting conversation. And while I cannot honestly check that box, I will say that I've had a lot of really interesting interactions with Arab women while I have been here in Dubai. Even specifically last week, I met a chick who I emceed. We emceed together the University of Dubai's end of the year bash and talent show and stuff. And so we auditioned together. We winded up getting picked to be masters of ceremony for this big event. And then through that, We really got to know each other. She was a lot of fun. She had a great personality. At one point in the middle of us being on stage in front of, there was probably like 300 or 400 people, she just started freestyling off the dome.
What?
And this just like came out of, yeah, this came out of left field. She just like started freestyling.
Sounds like your dream come
and
true,
then
my
she
friend.
looked at me. I know, that's what I'm saying. She looked at me, passed me the microphone, and your boy busted some rhymes, just like
Matty Ice. Coming back from the grave.
Now did you
resurrected? Hey, they call me Jesus because of the beard and the hair, so I just kind of
You resurrected those rhymes.
But like I said, she was a lot of fun, and we got to know each other through that. And then the other day we were on campus just kind of chatting, and she thought that I was actually, she didn't know that I was just going to be here for a semester. She thought I was like a permanent student, and so she started like hinting at, she just kind of, you know how women make those references, like they kind of are expressing interest and they're trying to see if you're going to reciprocate. And I was starting to catch some of those vibes, and she was actually starting to be like really forward about things. She started kind of ask about like my romantic history and stuff, and like my relationship status, whether or not I was single. And she wasn't doing it in a way that was like intrusive or socially inappropriate. But once I started catching that vibe, I had to be honest with her, and I was like, honestly, I've had a ton of fun with you these past couple of weeks, but I'm leaving before the end of the month, and so I don't really know if this is feasible, but like you're totally awesome, and you know, maybe in another life.
Matt's always one to analyze the feasibility of a situation. I think there's a lot to dive into in terms of that, you know, respecting her heart, respecting your own heart, you know, and you know, you don't want to start a love story in Dubai and then never be able to end it. So,
well, even then we can I mean, if you're comfortable talking about this, Matt, like you're not really one to go for the flings that don't have much meaning behind them. You know, I've known you for a while, and I would never attach the phrase womanizer to your name.
Ever.
I don't, yeah, ever. That's a sincere compliment, though. You definitely care about people, and that translates over into the way you relate to women. And it sounds like, I mean, if it's the situation, you know, is as you explain it, like you probably could have like hung out with her, you know, maybe things could have gone down, maybe not, but you chose instead to kind of respect the fact that, like, you know, you're only going to be here for a week. If anything was happening, it wasn't going to be serious, and that wasn't what you're about. So yeah, I mean, that's something that is very uncommon, to say the least. Not very uncommon, but like I would say most people don't really think that way. I know that you know, Taylor holds those similar values, and so do I.
Yeah, big props. Big props.
Yeah, man. Was that your mindset behind it, or what?
Essentially. I mean, I'm sure there could be a lot of my ex-girlfriends who could get on this podcast and totally rip me to shreds. Because at the end of the day,
that's why we're the only ones here, man.
Yeah.
Actually, they're coming in right now. You ladies want to come in and take a seat?
Intervention style.
Matt, don't get up. I will come out there.
Yeah, that would be a disaster waiting to happen. But at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and so I certainly admit that in my interactions with women, I've acted selfishly at times, and they've been hurt as a result. But as Taylor kind of said jokingly, a lot of the times I just kind of assess the feasibility of the situation. And the more that I've had experiences and relationships with women, and I've realized how short, like, little flings just kind of do more more harm than... No, it's all good.
But yeah, no. Just to kind of culminate and agree with you there, Matt. Like, I definitely agree. Like, you know, there's something powerful about realizing that the feasibility of a situation needs to be there before you put your emotions on the line. You know, and you don't want to be led by your emotions or your lust. You know, rather you want to be led by feasibility, because once you're in a feasible situation and it's safe, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can fall in love and let that love blossom and grow, and then pick the virtuous plump fruits of that growth, taste it, you know, let it get all over, just really immerse yourself. Right.
I don't see how we can put this in the podcast, but we can't put what I say.
Because I beat around the bush.
I beat around the bush.
So like not like that. But it's all fun and games.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely agree with you guys, because you know we have had you know Christian families, and we've had those morals, but I've kind of come to the point in my life where I'm accepting the fact that just as I have like you know, as far as relationships, like work relationships and you know, closer friendships and everywhere in between, I don't take sexuality out of that. Like I do have meaningful relationships. I've had girlfriends, you know, people, girls I've been in love with, and then also at the other end of that, I've had girls where it's just like, you know, it's kind of a fun thing. I don't think it should always be the one. You know, the shallow relationships, but at the same time, I think there's room for kind of a variety of interactions with women. You know, some girls maybe you're just sexually attracted, and your friends as well, and then that's fine. And then other girls, like you could see yourself marrying, and then other girls where it's like, you know, it's not even an option either way. But I mean, there's room to kind of feel that out for yourself, and but hey, man, it's great that you know, that's available to us, because for so long, like if you even like looked at a girl wrong, you know, you'd get like shamed in like the village, you know, the village gossip would be like, oh, she's a slut or whatever. You know, now it's like the open sexuality is really, I think, kind of put a lot of pressure off of people, which is really great.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's lots of ways to look at things.
Well, and just to go off of what Trev said, like that's what it really boils down to. Like everyone has a different value system when it comes to romance and sexuality. But I think something that is healthy and true, regardless of personal opinion, is just a willingness to make yourself vulnerable and put yourself out there and try new things. It's like so many times we're kind of controlled by fear and insecurity, and that prevents us from really moving towards someone that we're genuinely interested in on a romantic level. And so that's really what I try to strive for, is that if I'm legitimately interested in a girl, to not be controlled by the fear and insecurity and let that dictate my interactions with her, but instead, you know, put some feelers out there, you know, see what she's like, see if the situation is feasible, and then if she reciprocates and I think it's going to be a good thing, then that's when you can kind of start to move forward. But like Trevor pointed out, everyone kind of comes at romance and sexuality with a different mindset, a different attitude, and I think that's really positive because it makes the world a diverse place, and diversity is always beautiful.
So yeah, so basically we've kind of gone through the goals, and while you didn't marry a Persian princess,
not yet. He still has a week left.
You still got a week, that finish line. We'll tweet it out what happens, but
we'll start a GoFundMe.
Go marry me. But I think overall, Matt, you've had an extremely successful time. I'm glad to have shared in this experience with you, and I think that the fact that you were generous enough to open up your life, this segment of your life, to our listeners, has been just really great. And I appreciate our listeners as well for being respectful and being interested about Matt's experience in Dubai and kind of how I've experienced that with him. And I think it's been a beautiful, rich experience for everybody. And now Big Trev's coming in and swinging the bat, taking a crack at the whole situation itself. So, Matt, I think we'll probably wrap up here pretty soon. It's been a long run. It's been a lot of fun. And we need to come up with something to do here for a finale at the end.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll sing a song or something.
Or maybe DJ Matty Ice can come in and spit some mad bars. Ooh.
Yeah.
Would you be up for that?
Well, how are we gonna get a beat on? Should I just freestyle without a beat?
Well, you would. We'll say, yeah, you would. If you're like, I kind of want to. I don't know. I want to spit some freestyle. I feel like you should. But if I feel so inspired, you would do it on your end, and then we would do it on our end.
Okay. Should I just like play music from my phone and hope that like the speaker picks it up, or?
I think this is a bad idea. I don't think we should try to do rap.
No.
I was mostly just kidding.
We'll save the freestyles for another time. One thing that I would like to say as we kind of wrap things up is that number one, this has been a ton of fun. This has been an absolute blast. I think this final episode is just a picture of Taylor and Trevor and I's relationship and really like the essence of what Taylor and I wanted to do. We wanted to document my experiences and really digest things and internalize things, but we also just really wanted to enjoy ourselves in the midst of busy lives. And I think doing this podcast and generating the other creative content on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook has really allowed us to do that. So I think number one, that's just been a huge blessing. And then number two, I think this podcast has just become a springboard that will lead us into even bigger endeavors. Before we got on, Trevor and Taylor and I were already talking about new projects that we want to undertake. And this project, the Give Dubai a Try project, has not only cultivated certain skills that we can take with us into future endeavors, but it's really inspired us to do more. And I think that's one of the great benefits. At the end of the day, it's like the Give Dubai a Try project isn't necessarily super relevant socially. I think like at the most, maybe like our first video got like 250 views, but it's a starting point, and life is a very long journey, and as long as you keep taking steps in the right direction, you can do way more than expected. And that is what would really be my encouragement to all of you listeners out there, is we all have to start somewhere. And at times things have been very awkward and tense when Taylor and I have been talking with one another, and at least for me that's been a little bit embarrassing because I'm such a perfectionist. But something that I've come to learn through this whole process is like everyone has to start somewhere. You have to give it a try, and eventually really good things grow out of that. And that's really what's been my trip in Dubai has been all about. It's been about trying new things, meeting new people, experiencing new situations, and it's really challenged me and developed me in ways that I didn't really think were possible. So thanks so much for like joining us in this adventure. Your support has meant the world to us, even if it's only been a few of you guys. And definitely stay tuned, because Taylor and Trevor and I have a few tricks up our sleeves, and we can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, wait, before we sign off, let's all take our shirts off. I think that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, Matt, take your shirt off.
Take your shirt off.
Alright, I guess we're gonna take our shirts off.
This is it. We're ending it bro style.
Yummy.
The shirts are off. The tats are out. The nipples are showing.
Tats.
Ladies, try not to get too excited. This is what you've been waiting for the last 4 months. And it's finally here.
Yeah.
We're just giving the people what they want, hugging it out. We're not depriving you guys of even the slightest pleasure. And at this point, we've thoroughly embarrassed ourselves.
All
I don't
of your
think there's
needs are met.
anything else we can do. But like I said, we've had fun doing it, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's right, dude.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure when it's with you two fellas. And I hope everyone else feels that.
And for me, I think this has been a great finale, because all this traffic behind you that I've been watching is so interesting. Because at the beginning, it was like there was only like a few cars, but now it's like jam-packed rush hour. Mm-hmm. So just for me, you get to see a little bit of the lifeblood of what makes Dubai unique. and they've got that sick roundabout. If you look there, it's like there's the initial
massive.
yeah, it's insane. So, and all the palm trees makes it look like it's Miami or something.
It's the biggest roundabout I've seen all day.
Yeah, one of the bigger roundabouts that I've encountered, virtually or otherwise. So Matt, big thanks to you. Big shout out again to Dan, just because he's awesome. Just a hard worker.
Putting in that work. And yeah, be expecting things from Taylor, Matt, and I.
Yeah.
We got some things brewing in the cauldron, and we may let everyone see what's in there in just a few short months. We're
right.
whipping it up in the kitchen.
Yeah. Florida's about to go hard with this podcast creation. We've got a lot of great tech startups, and now we're going to have a bunch of good podcast startups, hopefully, if we all don't die. So,
long as Trump keeps us safe,
that's right.
We got blood in our balls, we're going to be doing this thing.
So, as you might expect, the podcast involving Trevor might be a little less PC, but that's okay.
But I'm just joking. I love people.
So anyway, all right, Matt, it's been a great run. Matt, it's been a great run. We've got our shirts off. I think we've done it right.
Yo, at this point, I think the only thing left to say is, God bless America.
That's right.
Amen.
God bless America.
All right,
God
see you
bless
guys. It's been a
Dubai.
blast.
See you, man.
Adios.
See you soon.